role of advance voting and mail-in ballots. The mail-in ballots, they have had mail-in ballots for a long time in the United States. Mail-in ballots are not new. What's new is the number of people that have used the mail-in ballot because of the COVID-19 situation in the United States. So this is the explanation. So none of what I've seen in terms of the moving of the votes and even the flipping of the lead overnight, none of that really surprises me. Just if you take the polls that were being published in advance, Nick, what's really surprising is that Donald Trump was even in the game.
True enough.
But I wasn't surprised by it. I thought those polls were wrong, and I was looking at other polls that were, showing him doing much better than what a lot of the mainstream pollsters were talking about. So that's the explanation, Nick. It's not, and as you know, I do this kind of work for a living. So it's polling and political marketing and that. So, and political communication. So I've seen this. It's not a surprise to me. And some of those states could go either way. Now, here's the thing. I think that at this stage, so many votes have been counted. There's so few votes to still count that I think that Trump is going to win in Georgia. I think that Trump is going to win still in is it north or South Carolina? I don't recall off the top of my head.
I think it's SC. I got the map here if I can find the right tab. I'll pull it up. Here it is. We have. My
understanding from people I've talked to on the Trump campaign in Arizona is they think that they still could win in Arizona. They think that the networks, news organizations, saying that Arizona is going to be
Biden's.
That they could still be wrong. That's what they're telling me. I don't know whether it's true or not. And I'm hearing from some of my people that I know out there in that part of the states that they still believe that they have a shot at Nevada. Nevada, I don't think, has been called yet by anybody.
No, it hasn't. And the state you were talking about is North Carolina.
North Carolina, okay. So he wins in North Carolina, which is how many electoral votes?
North Carolina represents 15.
Okay, so he wins there 15. Georgia is
16.
16, so that's 31. He needs 57. So that's 31.
Okay, well, if he wins in Pennsylvania, that's 20.
That's another 20. Right. So, he's getting...
Let's assume he wins.
And I actually think he's going to win in Pennsylvania. The margin,
so too.
The margin that Biden has to make up is quite significant. So I think that Trump will still win in Pennsylvania. So if he wins in Pennsylvania and he holds on to a slim victory in South Carolina and in Georgia, then and he wins in Pennsylvania and he wins in Nevada, then he'll win the election. So it's
how many does he need?
270.
No, I mean between where he's at now to get to 270.
To get to 270, I think he's at what, 213 or something?
214.
He's at 214, so he needs 56.
Guess what? If he wins PA, North Carolina, Georgia, and if he takes Nevada, he's got 57.
Right, so that's my point.
The other thing is Alaska's not been called, but that's 3 electoral votes, although he's leading handily there. So there's another 3 votes. 3 votes he'll get.
So okay, I thought that Alaska was already in his
Nope,
column.
It's not been called yet.
Okay, so Alaska. Okay, so if he wins Alaska, all right. If he wins Alaska, is 3.
Yep.
South Carolina is 15.
North Carolina is 15.
What's South Carolina?
South Carolina's already won.
Okay,
South Carolina, he's already won.
So
Georgia.
Georgia's how much?
Georgia is 16.
Okay, so 16, 15 is
North
31.
Carolina is 15.
That's 31.
Plus 20 more in PA.
That's 30. That's 31.
Yeah, and then 20 in PA.
So that's right. So that makes 31. And then 3 from
Canada,
Alaska,
okay.
31, so 34.
Yeah. And then Nevada gives him 6 more.
Okay, so that would give him. He needs 57.
Oh,
I'd have to, yeah.
31, you said?
He needs, okay, so he needs. So,
okay,
no, hang on a second. 31, 51 plus 3 is 54, and he needs 57, so he has to find 3 more electoral college votes.
He has to win in Nevada.
Or Nevada, or he
Arizona.
or they change the he ends up winning ultimately in Arizona, or Wisconsin or Michigan. Now I think
Wisconsin is. They called it for Joe Biden, but the number of votes, there's only 20,000 votes between them.
Yeah, they've already announced that they're going to ask for a recount.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see why you do that. So let's assume then that he wins Nevada, Alaska, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania.
He doesn't need, if that's the case, he wins, and he doesn't need Wisconsin or Michigan.
Yeah. So he still stands a chance of winning this.
Yeah, I think it's still an uphill battle because, again, the later votes being counted are generally going to break for Biden. So the question is, can he hold on to North Carolina and Georgia, where he's still leading in? Can he hold on to those? I think that the margin right now in Pennsylvania is very. I think it's a tall order for Biden to overcome that margin. He could still, but I think it's a tough row to hoe. So yeah, Alaska and Nevada are the ones it would come down to.
Here's the other thing is that Biden has no place else to grow. He only needs 270. But if like Georgia is at 49.8 for Trump and 49 for Joe Biden, there's only a little less than 100,000 votes between them in Georgia. That's not a lot of votes. In North Carolina, I think Donald Trump will win that. He's 50.1 to 48.7, so he should win that. And Pennsylvania, the numbers are more pronounced, 51 to 47.8. So there's about 1 million votes, not 1 million, but 100,000 votes between that, give or take. The real question is Nevada. I'm pretty sure he'll win Alaska because he's leading by 62 to 33.
We're starting to sound like Karl Rove here,
aren't we?
So
go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Nick. I talked a lot already.
I was just going to say that it's fascinating to me, and I got into this a little bit on Twitter tonight. God forbid I ever go onto Twitter, but how fascinated Canadians are with what's going on south of the border. I understand it has a huge impact, on us because they're our largest trading partners, and as their economy goes, so goes ours. Generally speaking, we lag a little bit behind them, but that's just because of the size of the market. Blah blah blah. I get all that, but how many people do you know live and die and breathe this stuff? We're doing it because we're talk show hosts, and that's what people expect, right? But in the long and short of things, we don't have any influence down there. We don't pay taxes down there. Well, let me say because I don't know what other people's situations are. I don't pay taxes there. I can't vote there. I don't live down there. I have no influence, none. over how this would play out. It's fun to watch, and it's a lot of fun to see what happens. And I get worried when guys like Joe Biden and his Green New Deal come along, which is a terrifying document. The things he wants to do are going to have a dramatic impact on their economy and on ours. Because if he gets his way, both economies are in trouble.
Right. I think that's an important point to make. I share with you, I don't know if I would call it surprise, but I share with you, a mild amazement, if I could use that term, with how much attention Canadians pay to American politics and to this election. But there is an impact here in Canada on the outcome. And if the American economy tanks, as the American economy goes, so goes the Canadian economy. I mean, we're pretty integrated. They're our largest trading partner, as you point out. So, what's good for the United States economically is good for Canada. I mean, the reality is this, okay? Hands down, it's not even close. The president, whatever his faults, whatever your personal opinion is of Donald Trump, hands down, Donald Trump is the best choice as American president for Canada. Because in the final analysis, almost the only thing that counts in terms of U.S. policy vis-a-vis Canada is their economy and the strength of their economy. So if the U.S. economy tanks, as I've already said, so goes the Canadian economy. So we want a robust, flourishing, growing, prosperous United States. Now, we could quibble and argue about all of the other issues, okay? Social justice, economic justice, blah, 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 okay? And I'm not saying, I'm not commenting on those. I have opinions about them, as I'm sure you know, Nick, and opinions about how valid the concerns that are expressed from time to time, how valid those concerns are. I mean, the concerns with economic disparity, people being concerned about it is real. Is it a valid concern? In other words, is it based on reality? Not so sure. I respect people that are concerned about it, but I think they're wrong to be as concerned as they are. So, but I don't want to get into that right now. Strictly, because what happens with American society, even people talk about the violence in the streets and stuff like that. Okay, well, it's not pleasant. I don't like seeing it on the news. But ultimately, it doesn't really have an impact here in Canada. So I don't really, I don't like to see it. But if I'm voting, if I had a vote, and the only question that I had going into vote was what's good for Canada, I don't think it's even close. I'd have to vote for Donald Trump. Yeah. Nick, I'm just going to say, Nick, it's coming up to the bottom of the hour, so we're just going to have to take a very quick break here on the live show. And if you're listening on the podcast, don't worry, you can catch part 2 tomorrow morning. It'll be posted tomorrow morning. So because we do that, we break our 2-hour show into 4 parts, and we put up each part on Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. So if you're listening live, stay tuned. We'll be right back. If you're listening on the podcast, you can catch the next one coming up tomorrow. Unless, of course, you're listening to things out of order or whatever, and it could already be up. I don't know. Well, I think I'm going into
their prerogative.
I'm going into too much detail here, Nick. We'll be back in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen.